Hello, motivators. Timothy McCain here. And listen, as you know, we are in a moment of our society and our lives in the world where everybody is on the edge of their seat. The coronavirus has really affected the normalcy of life and people's lives in general. Many people have said goodbye to loved ones that they never imagined they would say goodbye to so soon. So there's a lot of question marks we have in our life. But there are some things as well that I want to encourage you to try to find the silver lining in the midst of all this chaos. We're allotted some moments in life where I believe we suddenly get to have, in some capacity, we are being commanded to rest, to wait. And some people, they're working up a storm. And I'm so thankful for all of our healthcare workers, the delivery people, restaurant owners, and some the individuals helping, keeping us safe, our military and things of that nature. I'm so thankful for them. But you know what? In this moment in our life, if you're in this area where you're quarantined, or maybe you're told to stay home, or the social distancing, there's things that we have an opportunity to do that maybe you may not have thought of doing. I just want to bring a couple of ideas to you. First, this is a great opportunity to get to know your family. You know what I'm saying? Life is busy. Life is super busy. Waking up early, going to bed late, only to do the same thing tomorrow. Having one day of the week, many people have a Saturday where they can feel like they can breathe, and a Sunday where some go to places of worship, and then you only got a couple of hours left before you do the same thing over next week. But when life is slowed down and when we're off our cell phones and off of the schedule, you have an opportunity to really get to know each other. The thing about family is that family is comprised of a collaboration of individual people. And so throughout life, those individuals can change, they can adapt, they can grow. They may not be who they are today as they were yesterday. But now when you have an opportunity to sit down, have conversations, ask how are you doing, hear their dreams without the alarm clock going off, you may be amazed of how this moment of reprieve in our lives can benefit us in the long run. Again, I'm not saying by no means necessary that this is fun. I'm not saying that this is a great thing that's happening. I'm simply trying to say, let's try our best to see where the glass can be half full, right? So get to know your family, get to know your wife, find creative ways you can date inside your house. You know what I'm saying? Where you can talk to each other, get to know your kids, play, experience the outdoors. You know what I'm saying? So it's a great opportunity for you to get to know your family and your spouse all over again, as y'all dive with each other's dreams and stories. You know what I'm saying? Where we're not busy, where we're just there. I believe there's great benefit around the conversations that happens around our dinner table. So I want to encourage you to seize those moments. Another opportunity that we have, that this moment where we are caused to stay still, is that we get the time to evaluate ourselves. Do some soul searching. Do some time of introspection. Grab a great book. Read, learn, process. Get the time to get to know you once again. Maybe you realize that you're taking this time that maybe there's areas in your character that you're just like, man, I need to give more attention to this. Or maybe you say, well, I let my dreams die here. I got to pick that back up. Or maybe it's a hobby that you would always say, if I only had time, I would do it. Well, check this out. Hopefully now you can. You know, it's some time where not only the first time you get to date your family, now family, you get to date yourself. And lastly, family, I just want to leave you with these very quick video. Lastly is, please, it's okay to have precautions, have worries, have concerns. That's part of life. But living in panic, family, puts us in a mindset that's not healthy. And it's hard to do, I get it. There may be some people who are more of a warier wart than others, if you've heard that phrase before. They may be more predisposed to deep levels of anxiety. But you know, oftentimes this stuff is some things that's completely outside of our control. So I'm going to encourage you this: control the things you can control, all right? But understand to cut yourself some slack from the things you cannot control. All right, what can you control? You can be prepared as best you possibly can be. But however, while you being prepared, be mindful. this whole toilet paper thing that's going on, and the Lysol and the hand sanitizer. The thing about where it makes hand sanitizer and Lysol able to combat this coronavirus is that your hands, it shouldn't be the only one not clean. It requires your neighbor's hands to be clean as well. So when you hoard in these things, when you keep these things for yourself, you're withholding for everybody else. Secondly, when you're in the grocery store and you're just pulling things, you're only thinking for yourself, you may be where it may be an extra sandwich that you throw away because you're full, may be the meal that the other person literally needed to survive. So as you're preparing and you're prepping, think about everybody else around you. Create a mindset community, not a lone wolf survivor mentality. Think about your neighbor. I'm a Christian. I'm a believer, right? And so when I read the Bible, there's a story where Jesus says this individual, this religious individual, comes to the Lord and said, "Hey, what must I do to inherit eternal life?" And Jesus says this. He says, "Love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind, and all your strength." Then he continues the conversation. They ask Jesus, "Okay, Jesus, well, who is my neighbor?" All right, and then he says, "Love your neighbor as yourself." So the first one is love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind, with all your strength. Then secondly, the Lord said, "Love your neighbor as yourself." So then the individual wanted to clarify, so he asked a question, said, "Hey, who was my neighbor?" And Jesus began to give him this story, this parable of this good Samaritan. And so the story, very quickly, is how there's this individual, this Samaritan, who was crossing on this road. This Bible talks about the road to Jericho, which is a trade route and sometimes very dangerous. And this story ended up being just that, because he was robbed and he was beat down, left half naked. And the Bible talks about that a Levite passed by. He saw the man and he passed by on the side. It's like crossing a street and you see an individual you're trying to avoid, so you fake a phone call and you go on the sidewalk to try to pass by them. Right, so this Levite, and what the Levite, sadly, were individuals who worked in the temple. They were religious individuals, or priests. Priests. I'm butchering the story. The priests saw him first. And these individuals who worked in the temple saw him, and he passed on the other side. Secondly, a Levite, and a Levite were in the bloodline to be priests, and they did the same thing. Saw the individual, saw the Samaritan, like, "Oh, I ain't got time for that," or "I don't know what I'm gonna do," or "He's a Samaritan, he looks different than me, he believes differently than me." These individuals were so prejudiced and racist due to religious standards. It was crazy during those times, but we still see in our times today. Right, saw the man, "Oh, I don't want to have nothing to do with that." And the Bible says, "Passed by on the other side." This person who was beat down, and then a Samaritan saw him. Right, a different belief, different background, saw him and picked him up. He helped bring healing to his body, put him on his donkey, put him on the inn, and even used his own finances to help take care of them. And the Lord used an example, said, "Hey, this is how you should be a neighbor." Right, and so let's make sure, because many people who are going crazy, buck wild in Sam's Club, buying mountains and mountains of toilet paper, taking baby formula and wipes from mothers who really need it, are going absolutely crazy, just thinking for themselves and thinking for their neighbors, are the same Christians who are worshiping on Sunday every single Wednesday, reading the Bible, all this other jazz. But this, Bottom Assembly family, this is a moment we can actually be it. We can't hide behind the cross. We have to carry it. So if you're watching this today and you are a Christian, I want to challenge you to evaluate your faith and to ask yourself this question. Am I doing what the Lord said? Am I allowing, as scripture tells me, to let my light so shine among men that they may see my good deeds and glorify my Father in heaven? And so by no means am I attempting to take off my belt. I'm trying to tell you to get a switch or wag my finger. I'm trying to wave a flag. Because this could be the greatest moment in our nation, in the greatest places of despair, where grace, love, compassion, and godliness rises up in the midst of all these ashes of uncertainty. But family, I believe that the doors of the churches should be packed after this, not closed because its representatives were nasty, ugly, rude, and wasn't neighbors. So listen, family, I want to encourage you to work first and foremost, to seize these moments, to love on your family, to get to know your family once again. Secondly, was to get to know yourself. Grab a book. Get watch fulfill your hobby. That's what I'm trying to say. And lastly, making sure that you are a neighbor. One more time, because I butchered that. Number one, get to know your family. Number two, get to know yourself. And number three, get to know your neighbor by being a neighbor. All right, fam, that's it for me. Motivators, I want you to make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe to this YouTube video. Please share this. And again, I understand this may step on somebody's toes. Some people may not agree with this, because we have I'm gonna do me or die. I'm fighting for me. I'm gonna take care of me. But it takes a village. And I was an individual growing up. I received free lunch. I received a coat because I grew up in crazy poverty. I was an individual who was on the other end of someone else's arms. That now I'm standing here today alive and healthy because some neighbor cared. And so this means a lot to me. So I want to encourage you, and if you have any moments like this, making sure you're passing it forward, that you're sowing love so you can receive love, because this still can be one of the greatest opportunities ever allotted in our time thus far, if we will take every moment, because I believe the glass is still half full.